Hi everybody, this is Amanda Ellis of amandaellis.co.uk, Facebook page Angelic Celestial Colours, and YouTube channel Amanda Ellis 11. Welcome. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. You can see you can't see me because I want you to look at the cards, and I'm going to do a straight reading for twin flames today. And the reason for that is because we've just had the Gemini full moon. And I had a client contact me this morning who is a twin flame, who was just giving me an update in terms of what's going on with her. And I went to respond to her, and straight away Archangel Metatron started to talk to me about, well, of course, we've just had the Gemini full moon, and Gemini is the sign of the twins. So, of course, this is going to have impacted the energy for anybody that is either in separation from their twin flame or in union with their twin flame. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at what's going on with the divine male and the divine female. And I am going to call them that because otherwise it's going to get really, really confusing if I try to cover every single connotation of energy or relationship out there. Please know though that the twin flame energy is not exclusive just to male and female. It is also linked into same-sex relationships, and what I am guided to say to you, if that is the case, is for those in same-sex relationships, think about which one of you holds more of the divine male or the divine female energy, because we are all a combination of both, okay? And that will give you a good steerage in terms of how to interpret what I'm saying here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some cards linked into what's going on around relationships, which are referred to as twin flame relationships. I'd already made a video earlier on this year talking about the fact that the reason that I focus on the twin flame relationship is because I believe that they are a group within our community that is part of helping to raise the vibration on our planet at the moment. It's linked into the ascension of the planet. So we have many groups out there. We have the indigos, the crystal children, the rainbows. We have special animals. We have all sorts of amazing souls incarnating at this time, trying to help to raise the vibration and aid ascension. And twin flame union couples are another example of that. That's why I cover this in my work, okay? If you are a twin flame, you just sort of know you are, okay? Please look back at the other video that I've made, okay? Because I don't want to go into too many general specifics here. I just want to have a look at what is going on with the energy as of the 7th of... Oh, interesting, I said the 7th of December. There's a reason for that, which I'm not sure I want to share. It's actually the 4th of December. Okay, no, I will share it because I've said it now, haven't I? I'm going to have to. 7th of December is my wedding anniversary, and 7th of December is also a date that where I miscarried a child. So it's weighing quite heavily on my mind this week, okay? So it's the 4th of December anyway. Okay, let's just see which card has just flipped out before we do anything. And if I put it up to the camera, okay, you can see that we've got the Wheel of Fortune. Card number 10, the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune is basically fate coming in to move us, whether we like it or not, onto the next part of our journey. Now, those of you watching, you're all going to be at different stages of your journey. Some of you will be coming back into union, some of you will be staying in separation, some of you will be asking to give more, some of you will be being asked to receive more. You need to be tuning in to where you are at the moment on your journey. Maybe you've been stuck somewhere for a while, but the Wheel of Fortune is here coming in to say that something is about to change, okay? And it's not something actually that you have an awful lot of control over. So I have been saying a lot on my Facebook page recently that it's really important to try to surrender, actually, because wherever you're at on your journey, when we surrender, we actually let the divine in, who ultimately can see the bigger plan for us, can see the bigger plan also for both partners within a divine twin flame union. So it's just interesting that that one just flipped out straight away. Let's put that at the head, shall we? And we'll see how it transpires. What I would like to do now is I'm going to actually just shuffle, and I'm going to pull 5 cards that link into the energy of the divine male at this time. Okay, so the divine male. Haven't quite got the hang of this camera angle, so apologies. I know it's not ideal, but I'm doing my best. That's what we're all doing ultimately, isn't it? We're all doing our best. And on the twin flame journey, that's very true as well. Whether you are the male, the female partner, whether you're stuck, whether you're waiting, whatever's going on, we're all really just doing our best. I love that expression about we're all just walking each other home. I think that's so true, don't you? Okay, let's look at where the divine male is, and let's have 5 cards, please. Archangel Metatron to help us see what's going on with them. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to take the top 5 off the deck. Making sure you can actually see those. Number 1, 10 of Pentacles, 6 of Swords, 2 of Pentacles, 3 of Swords, 3 of Cups, and on the bottom of the deck for them is the Page of Cups. Okay, I'll interpret that for you in a moment. Let's just pull 5 for where the divine feminine is at this time. The cards that I'm using, by the way, are made by a friend of mine in Dorset. She's called Donna, Maxine White. She's a very good reader, and she's got a wonderful shop as well. I'm quite lucky that we've got a shop near us, and she sells these cards. I'll put a link to the cards as well on this video. So 5 cards, please, Archangel Metatron, for state of play for the divine feminine. He's telling me to stop there. Let's just move these cards over here a little bit so I can get it all into shot. Okay, so where's the divine feminine? We have got the 5 of Pentacles, the 10 of Wands. I knew that one was going to come out. The 5 of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, and the Fool. And on the bottom of the pack, the King of Wands. Okay. So, oh, actually, I've got 7 cards there. Let's pull one more then for the feminine. Temperance. Okay. Right, let's first look at what's going on with the divine male then. Let's look at the cards that we've got. Wheel of Fortune we've discussed. Page of Cups was on the bottom of the pack. So this says to me that the divine feminine, the divine masculine rather, is actually wanting to be able to step forward and offer his love. Certainly to communicate in some way, but for some reason is finding it hard to do so. And I'm really looking at the water behind the figure here. So although the cup is being held, which shows that the offering wants to be made, the waters actually look quite choppy behind them. And it may be that they're actually just waiting for a time where smoother, calmer water lies. Can you see on the card, we've got this choppy water here, and then on the other side, just coming in, is much smoother water and what looks like a little dolphin there as well, indicating happier times to come. I don't know whether the card is supposed to be, but I'm really linking it to the energy of Venice in particular. And Venice, of course, has all the waterways, and I don't know, just for me it has a feeling of Venice to it, although you could also say there's a bit of Athens there as well. But I'm drawn to Venice, and of course Venice is known as a city for lovers, isn't it? It's a very romantic place, but it's also a very mysterious place. Those of you that have been to Venice will know there's all sorts of weird and wonderful sort of little alleyways where you can get quite lost. And I'm being reminded of the film, what was it called? the one with Donald Sutherland in it. Don't Look Now, is it called something like that? The one with the lady in the red cloak. So there's also almost a feeling of menace as well within Venice. I mean, I don't mean that that is actually the reality. I'm just talking about perception here. It's almost a city of contrast. It's a city of grand gestures and love and gondolas and all of that. But it's also a city which can be submerged by water. It can be a city where there are lots of dead alleys as well. So I don't know. At the moment, it just feels as though this cup is there, wanting to be offered, but for some reason something is preventing it. Okay, but certainly the divine masculine is wanting to do that. But having said that, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I was going to confuse the camera. Around them, though, is an awful lot of confusion. I mean, I'm really drawn to the Three of Swords card, which is an obvious one to go to. In fact, we've got two threes here. We've got the Three of Cups and we've got the Three of Swords. The Three of Cups to me says that there is a third party involved. Now, that doesn't have to be a person. It could be to do with, it could be work, which is another party. It's another energy rather than party. Let's just say there's another energy. There are three energies at play. There is you, there is them, and then there is something else that is occupying their time, their attention. And it could be something to do, it could be like work, it could be a project, it could as well be another person. It could be that they're actually still in another relationship. And it's as though, I want to say that the cup that is the fullest is the one at the bottom, which I feel represents the twin flame love that they have for you. And because it's the biggest, it's the fullest. But unfortunately at the moment, the one that they're reaching for is the cup that's on top, which actually is the one that might be the nearest to hand, but it's not necessarily the one that is the most satisfying to drink from, okay? In fact, it's definitely not. But it does feel as though it's like the staging posts before we actually get to this grand cup of love, where it can be freely drunk from by both people without any interference from anything else, any third party energy whatsoever. To get to that place of being able to drink from this really large cup here, in terms of union, something has to end, okay? Something has to end. This again can be varied in terms of its meaning. It could be that a relationship has to end, that they are in, or that you are in, or it could just be related to any other situation. It could be, again, it could be linked to work, it could be linked to where they live. It could be linked into a state of mind, but it's a very definite ending. And it's something that comes with a degree of anguish for the divine masculine. It isn't something that is just done and they move away from really quickly with no afterthought. It's something that, I have to say, it feels as though it hurts. I mean, look at the card. It's very clear. There are three swords through the heart there. The heart is still surviving. The swords will each be pulled out one by one, and the heart will repair itself, but there is a degree of time that is required for that to happen. But something is ending, and it is very much linked into the time that we're in, and it's linked into this Wheel of Fortune card, which is basically where fate is saying, you've had long enough to sort out whatever this is, whatever this situation is that's painful, that's not working any longer, that isn't right for you. And actually, we now are going to come in and take matters out of your own hands if you don't proactively do it yourself. Those of you that follow my general work know that I did a video, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, which talked about divine intervention coming. And I said it was this year, and I still maintain that that is the case for a lot of people. However, I'm really aware that we've only got about 3.5 weeks left of this year, and then we're into 2018. And I do know that when 1 year changes and it goes into another, of course, Spirit doesn't see time in a really structured, linear way. And so there can be overlap. I don't feel as though it then goes on for another year, but I do feel that there may well be a couple of months overlap. So if you haven't had the divine intervention, or you haven't had the big ending to bring about the birth of the new, I think that that will be coming in the new year, but it could be sooner than that as well. But this, as I say, we're just talking about the divine masculine's energy at this point. Why have they been refusing to change, refusing to end something? I think really the answer to that lies in this card, the Ten of Pentacles. And if you look at this card, it feels like it's a card of plenty. It is obviously a card which shows financial security. There is a sort of palace or castle there. Although, as I'm looking at it, Metatron's reminding me of that phrase, which is to do with the fact that you can get yourself locked into a gilded palace. You know, you can become locked into something which looks very beautiful on the outside to others and to all intents and purposes, but actually is, although you have great comfort and you have great security, actually isn't satisfying you at any inner depth, and becomes a bit like the cage or the prison. But actually, if you look outside the gates of this castle or this prison that they're in, even though it's a beautiful prison, because actually the more I look at it, it looks like a beautiful prison. There's actually, can you see here? This reminds me of almost like the carriage that takes Cinderella to the ball. And it's almost as though, again, I want to put this with the card of the Wheel of Fortune, because it's a bit like, and this is all is symbolic, you know, those of you that follow me know that I use symbols a lot in my work. It feels as though this is a bit like the fairy carriage that the fairy godmother, you know, sort of just with one swish of her wand manages to, you know, manifest into being. And, you know, it's like, you too shall come to the ball, you too shall come to the ball. And actually, if you remember the story of Cinderella, of course, she went to the ball, didn't she, in the gilded carriage with the horse and the beautiful gown. And then the clock struck 12 and she had to go back to the life that she had. She became cinders again. And, you know, her beautiful gown turned to rags. And, you know, that's where you thought the story was going to end. But of course, that wasn't where the story ended, because what actually happened was that then the universe stepped in, and of course the prince couldn't forget the beautiful woman that he'd been dancing with, and he searched high and low over many lands to find her. And I feel as though that's almost a story that's linking in here to the divine masculine's energy at the moment, which is that they're feeling trapped within this gilded palace, stuck, knowing that there is some sort of ending to come, but not understanding how that can happen. And it's as though the fairy godmother stands for fate. You know, she stands for spirit that comes in to say, no, you know, you too shall come, you too can be happy. And, you know, that fairy tale did have a happy ever after to it. You know, the prince did find her, and they were able to live a happy life together, but it wasn't straightforward. You know, it was not straightforward, and she came from a place of poverty of the soul, really, as well as poverty in more general terms, to arrive at a place which was very beautiful, but it wasn't straightforward. What else have we got here? We've got the Two of Pentacles, and again, if I just show you that card, let's just look at the image of it, because I really read the cards based on their energy and their image rather than any traditional meanings. And what I'm seeing here is, can you see on the bottom of the swing, the bottom of the seesaw, we've got the male and female symbol there very clearly, the yin and the yang, needing to get back into balance. I'm also feeling as though both parties have to become more equal for this reunion to happen, or if you're already in union, for, you know, the happy ever after to occur. So I'm hearing the nursery rhyme Jack and Jill now. Remember the nursery rhyme? Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. So it's almost as though for the happy ever after to occur, both people here are at a time, male and female, where both of you have got work to do. Okay, both of you have got work to do, because there's no point going up to the top of the hill just to fall all the way back down again. There's no point for the clock to strike 12 just to be in rags again, you know, when it strikes 12:30. This is about a union that spirit wants, the divine wants to happen. The energy of divine love wants to come down onto these two people and to their lives to bring about union and to bring about lasting happiness. But it does, I'm really just looking also at the balance there on that card. And if you can you remember when you used to go on a seesaw as a child, and so the person that's up here is the one that's obviously I was going to say less weight, but it almost feels like he's got more work to do. You know, he's up in the air, his feet aren't on the ground. The feminine at the moment is the one that's holding the energy of this union and really believing in it and really trying to manifest it in. This one, the divine male, he doesn't know whether he's coming or going, okay? So there just needs to be a balancing out of energy here. So work to do by him. And then we've got the Six of Swords, and I like the image on this card. Let's just put it up close so you can see. This shows a ship, and it's obviously sailing away, sailing towards something more than anything. And that's the way I want to interpret this. It's what I'm feeling is coming in, because it's as though after the Three of Swords happens, after this ending occurs, whatever that means to any of you listening to this and watching, we get the Six of Swords, which is a moving away from that anguish and moving away from the problem. And I do want to say moving closer towards the divine feminine as well. I mean, look at this beautiful star that's up in the sky there. You know, it reminds me of the star that that guided the wise men to the birth of Christ as well. It's very indicative of, again, of that divine help. And I feel as though this ship, which represents him, it's like he doesn't even know necessarily where he's going, but he knows he has to move away from something, and he will be moving more towards you. And also it does feel as though for some people it's also a trip across sea, because we've got the sea there and we've got land, and it's very clear that this, wherever he's left, it's a fair journey back, okay? And he's moving towards something greener, something more lush, okay? So that's the energy of the divine masculine. Let's have a look now at what's going on with you to make sense of what's going on with you, okay? So the first card that came up for you was this one, the Five of Pentacles. And those of you that really understand the twin flame energy will know that when one twin is feeling something, then the other one will also be feeling a similar, not identical thing, but a similar energy. And you know, I was saying earlier that I felt that the divine male was sort of locked up in this, well, looks very beautiful, like a gilded cage, but basically locked and is not free. Well, what we've got here for the divine feminine is actually, this is a more brutal interpretation of it, really. You know, this isn't even a nice particular looking castle. This is something where it almost looks like a prison cell, and feeling very destitute. Just a lighted candle on the floor, you know, reminding her to keep on going, to have faith, to have trust. She's not aware of the window that's above her head that is actually wanting to show her the new dawn. Doesn't seem to be aware of the Five Pentacles that are there. And I'm hearing very strongly that those Five Pentacles represent all the good work that she has done, all of the effort that she's put in to trying to encourage her divine male closer to her. But she's feeling quite sorry for herself there. It's not a particularly easy energy to look at, and it's not a particularly easy energy to be in. And don't forget, this, I'm making this, as I say, the day after the Gemini full moon. So this is exaggerated because the full moon does exaggerate everything. It makes everything more magnified. But this is almost like at the lowest moments, this is what the divine feminine feels like. And it really is a case of just like, I really feel like I can't go on. I don't want to go on. I've had enough of this. I just want to get out of this union. But as I made very clear before in another twin flame video that I made, the thing with the twin flame energy is you can't get out of the union anyway, and you wouldn't actually want to if it really. It's just that at the lowest times, this is what it feels like. And at the end of the day, when we're feeling like this, the only way is actually up, okay? There's nothing more that can be taken away from that person. And I think a lot of us Divine Feminines are feeling that at the moment. It's almost as though we've surrendered and we've surrendered and we've surrendered. And we have given and we have given and we have given. And we haven't actually seen really any, not a lot of results from all of that endeavour. But we're reminded, look at these 5 coins. These are all the good works that you've done. This is all the good energy that you've given out. This is something that is there for you, but it's also there for your divine male partner as well, okay? So let's come back to that, but that's where we're at when we start. There is something linking into money here though, because as well as the 5 of Pentacles, we've then got the Ace of Pentacles. So I really feel as though the divine feminine needs to know that she's okay financially, that she can survive, she can thrive as well, and that she's starting to understand that money is an energy like anything else in the universe, and that she will be given what she needs to survive, and not just survive, to thrive. I'm hearing the word to thrive. But the Ace of Pentacles just feels like, again, it's like a fresh start coming in, and it feels as though it's linked into abundance. So that's quite nice to see. But in terms of the challenges, as well as feeling a little bit desolate, this card, we've also got this one. I think this is a really interesting card. Let's just zoom in on it. And it's the 5 of Wands. Now, those of you that are not in the UK might not understand the significance of this card, so I'll just quickly explain it. But this shows a couple of characters called Punch and Judy. And Punch and Judy are a couple of parrots, I was about to say. What am I going on about? Parrots? Puppets. Where did parrot come from? A couple of puppets who, and we tend to have them at the end of a pier, you know, at seaside resorts in the UK. And the thing about Punch and Judy as a couple of puppets, I keep wanting to say parrots, is that they're always fighting, they're always bickering with each other. So it feels like around the Divine Feminine's energy at the moment, there is a lot of bickering, there's a lot of, the creator of this deck calls play fighting. So it's not sort of like tearing chunks out of each other, but it's not particularly pleasant. And both of, they're a bit tied up in that at the moment, okay? And it's almost become something that they're doing without even realising that they're doing. What else do I want to say about this? I almost want to say they're making a bit of a spectacle of themselves, because actually I think other people are looking on and actually wondering what on earth the Divine Feminine is doing. Why is she stuck in this drama? You know, it's almost got a sense of dark comedy about it, because that's very much the Punch and Judy energy. It's almost like there's a dark humour to it. I'll tell you what, there is dark humour around today, because I'm just looking out of my window as I'm talking to you, and I can see this seagull, and he's obviously just walking across my shed roof, but I can't see the shed. All I can see is half this seagull, and he's just walking round and round in circles. And it's a bit like this whole energy. It's just, I don't know, drama, play acting, frustration, aggression, troublesome energy. Okay, so I'm feeling quite sorry for the Divine Feminine here. She's been through a lot. She's tired. If we look at this energy here, the 10 of Wands, let's have a look at this. What does this say to us? Well, the one thing I'm looking at straight away is that it feels like she's pushing that uphill all on her own. Okay, can you see that? I mean, yes, I know there's 10 wands in there, which I guess is positive. You've got, you know, 10 lots of something, 10 lots of support, or 10 lots of abundance, but she is pushing it uphill on her own. Can you see that? And it's like I can almost feel the beads of sweat on her forehead. But actually, if you look at the card, there's a horse standing there. So this Divine Feminine is not reaching out to the support that is out there to help her. And I feel that's in a very wide sense, actually. I don't think that's just in relation to reaching out to the Divine Masculine. I think it's about generally this woman, this Divine Feminine, is feeling that she's doing all of the work herself, which is why It's exactly why she's feeling like this, okay? It's a bit like a crisis point here for the Divine Feminine. But it's not as bad as it looks, because, as I say, just look at that beautiful... It's not as bad as it looks, because just look at the beautiful Shire horse. There is something there right beside her, fit for purpose, that is able to help her get out of her predicament. If she would only stop being so tunnel visioned and just looking straight ahead, but actually being able to open up her lateral vision and see the support that is actually there, okay? What is nice is that on the bottom of the deck for the Divine Feminine, we did have the energy of the Fool. So this says to me that she will manage to get out of this slightly anguished situation that she's in at the moment. And I feel as though I want to say she's one step ahead of the Divine Masculine at this time as well. Because whereas he had the energy of, do you remember he had the energy of the Three of Swords? So there is to be an ending, and that is going to be helped by the Wheel of Fortune energy. The Divine Feminine has the Fool. So it's as though at some level she has already moved on. Even if that hasn't actually physically manifested yet, in her mind she has already moved on. She's already surveying the new land. She's already planning the new things. I love the fact she's got a little black cat there beside her. Can you see that? And there's a bird overhead. And it's almost, again, very similar feeling to this actually. There's a lot of mirroring going on with both of these. The Divine Masculine had this card, sailing away to something, not quite knowing what. The Divine Feminine is standing on top of this cliff, not quite knowing where to go either, but knowing that she is going to make the leap into new territory, into new life. I still feel she's a little bit more ahead of the game there. Okay. What else have we got? Within the Divine Female energy, we have got the energy of the King of Wands, which feels as though that's how she's viewing her Divine Male counterpart at the moment. There he is. King of Wands is a passionate, high energy being. He's dressed in red and orange, and that's interesting to me because, sorry, I'll try and hold my hand steady. He's dressed in red and orange, and I haven't got the bottle yet, but I do know that Aura Soma, who make the dual coloured oil bottles, this week launched an orange and red bottle, which is linked into the twin flame energy. I will try and get hold of it and show it to you another time. But those two colours are very much linked into the base chakra and the sacral chakra. So it's as though she is viewing this Divine Masculine as being the one who gives her life force back, you know, makes her feel alive again. And don't forget there's equal mirroring going on as well, so he probably feels the same about her. It's like, give me my passion back, give me my life back, give me my nourish me in that way, and I will do the same for you. Don't forget, in twin flame relationships, it has to be give and receive. It can't just be give me. That's the old 3D thing that we're moving away from. This is, I recognise the fact that you can nourish me, that you can heal me, that you can love me, that I am passionate about you, but equally I know you are about me also, okay? It's a beautiful, beautiful card. Guidance for the Divine Feminine at this time is temperance, balance. Quite interested in the fact, I don't know why they've done this, but can you see there's all these numbers around the angel here, who is just asking us to be patient. We've got 1597, 987, 610, 377, 233. Okay, what's coming to me as I'm looking at that is that just looks completely random. You know, maybe actually it does mean something, I've no idea. But that's the message I'm getting, that the numbers feel random. And I realise some mathematician is probably going to be looking at this and saying, oh, no, actually, you know, there's a pattern here. Well, it's lost on me is all I can say. What I'm sensing is they're random numbers. And it feels as though the card of patience here is saying that there are some events to come that you cannot plan, you cannot control, that will appear to be completely random. You look back and you think, well, how the hell did I get here? But in hindsight make perfect sense, okay? So just watch out for that. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear these away a little bit, because I want to create a space in the middle now for the state of the relationship between the two people, between the divine male and the divine female, okay? So whether you are in a separation or whether you are together, let's just have a look at the overall energy of how you feel about each other, okay? And the overall state of the relationship. And I will just bring in now as well the thing I was talking about earlier, which was multidimensionality, okay? I think it's really, really important to realise that when you are a twin flame, you operate at many, many different levels, not just at the physical, okay? So I mentioned dream state, meeting in dream state, hunches, synchronicities, getting signs, you know, so many different things. It's about opening up to the full spectrum of who you are, the physical, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual and the astral. And signs will come in many different ways to respond to those different aspects of your being, okay? Right, let's have 5 cards then for state of the relationship between divine male and divine female at this time. No, I'm going to change that. I'm going to leave that card. I've just been told, let's actually have a message. Let's just have a message for twin flame union, the relationship. And I don't want to dictate it. Let's just have a message for male and female twin flame relationship. The relationship. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pull a 6th. Right. It's confirming some of what I've already said, but with like additional oomph. We've got the card of rebirth, transformation, rebirth. Look at all those images on that card. What have we got? We've got an awful lot actually. We've got a rainbow, we've got water, which represents life. We've got a pyramid here. Oh, it's a prism actually. It's white light which becomes the rainbow. We've got a tower that has fallen down, making, you know, letting go of the old to make way for the new. We've got like a vortex here. That feels to me like a vortex of energy. That's like a whirlwind. Something comes in quite fast for some people to completely change the dynamic. You know, you don't see a tornado until it's actually quite close. Okay, so it feels like there's a very quick moving energy for some. But in the center, we have the skull that represents death and rebirth. So that's good, because I feel as though there's been a lot of stagnation in twin flame relationships for years, to be perfectly honest. So we need this rebirth energy to come in. And it needs to come in because I actually feel that this card here is a representation of how both male and female are feeling at the moment. They're both feeling imprisoned. Both feeling imprisoned by their own fears, by their own insecurities, and something needs to help them get out of that place. And they will get out of that place because we have the energy of the 7 of Swords. Sorry, not the 7 of Swords, the Ace of Swords. Okay, the Ace of Swords. Dynamic energy which will reveal the truth. It'll cut to the truth. And it will help this rebirth process. The 6 of Pentacles, I talked about this in another video recently. It feels to me like this is like the Garden of Eden type energy. It's a place where male and female can meet and can be reunited, and there is an awful lot of abundance and happiness there. But to get to that, you've got to get yourself out of that. And traditionally, I think a lot of people have said, oh, well, you know, one has to move first and then the other will follow. But I'm feeling as though both male and female are in very similar situations at the moment. Very, very similar situations. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if actually it almost happened for some people at the same time. That the male gets themselves out of whatever is causing the pain and the anguish, and the female does the same. A couple of warning cards though. 7 of Swords. I never like to see that one in particular. This is a bit sort of like a slight warning. You know, it's like... I don't want to say about that one. And it feels as though he's just snuck away somewhere, somehow. So when I was talking about getting yourself out of an old situation, freeing yourself from that, to free yourself from that, do it with integrity. Don't do it like a thief in the night. Do it with integrity. Remember what you're trying to birth here. We're trying to birth an energy of unconditional love. And unconditional love has to be based on truth and integrity and acting with grace at all times. And we also have the energy of the 5 of Swords. And I think this is actually a message again for both parties to say, if you've been fighting a battle where you've been getting nowhere, it's almost as though you have to get to a place where you think, is it worth carrying on? I'm not talking here about the twin flame union. I'm talking about existing relationships that the both of you might be in, or existing situations that the both of you might be in. It's about, think about what you're actually fighting for. So a final card, because my battery is about to die more than anything. Final card for this video, please. Archangel Metatron. Final message for all who are watching, who are twin flame. The 4 of Cups. The 4 of Cups. Needing to move away from a place where you feel as though that cup... Do you remember we talked about this great big cup here on the bottom? That represents the twin flame cup. Somehow they're not seeing it on the horizon here. It's there. It's on the horizon. It's within reach. You've just got to change your focus away from these other cups or the Gilded Palace or this. Or this. And you've got to keep focused on the cup of love, because it's there, it's real, and it's felt by both of you. And it feels as though it's about time that it was claimed. Okay? So that's today's message. I hope it helps. I will post another update when I'm told to. Much love to all. Bye-bye for now.